one hand pressed against my abdomen where my failing kidney sat like a ticking clock. The transplant was scheduled for 3 weeks from now, the same week my parents had booked their Mediterranean cruise with my sister Vanessa and her husband. Dr. Morgan, you remember my youngest, Emma? Mom said to her colleague from the hospital administration office. She waved vaguely in my direction. She's finally getting that procedure done. Nothing serious, just something she's been putting off. Dr. Morgan's eyebrows rose with concern. Oh, what kind of procedure? Just kidney stuff, Mom said dismissively, already turning away. You know how young people are, they make everything dramatic. Now, let me tell you about Vanessa's promotion. I watched this exchange with the same detached calm I'd developed over the past 6 months. 6 months since my diagnosis. 6 months since my family decided that end-stage renal disease was an inconvenience rather than a life-threatening condition. My phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Sarah Chin, my nephrologist. Foundation board meeting confirmed for next Tuesday. Surgeon General Wallace confirmed attendance. Your speech ready? I typed back, ready. See you there. Emma. Vanessa's voice cut through the crowd. She approached with her signature fake smile, champagne glass in hand. Mom told me you're still going through with that kidney thing. You know you're being selfish, right? This is Mom's milestone birthday month. My transplant is scheduled for the 18th, I said quietly. Your cruise leaves the 16th. Exactly. And you know how Mom gets anxious. She'll be worried the whole time we're gone and it'll ruin everyone's vacation. Vanessa leaned closer, her voice dropping. Can't you just reschedule? It's not like it's an emergency. You've been on dialysis for months. What's a few more weeks? What's a few more weeks? I'd heard variations of this since my diagnosis. Since the day my kidney function dropped below 15% and Dr. Chin told me I needed a transplant within the year or I'd be looking at permanent dialysis and a dramatically shortened life expectancy. I'll be fine, I said, which was what I always said. Good. Because honestly, between you and me, I think you're milking this whole sick thing for attention. Vanessa sipped her champagne. You've always been jealous of me. First my wedding, then my promotion, now Mom's party. There's always some drama with you. I said nothing. There was no point. They'd made up their minds about who I was 6 years ago when I'd left my consulting job to focus on patient advocacy work. Throwing away your potential, Dad had called it. Working at some little nonprofit for peanuts while your sister climbs the corporate ladder. What they didn't know, what I'd carefully kept from them, was that my little nonprofit was the National Kidney Foundation's Patient Innovation Division. That I'd spent the past 3 years developing telehealth programs that had expanded dialysis access to rural communities across 15 states. That I'd been invited to speak at medical conferences in Geneva and Tokyo. That next Tuesday I was scheduled to present our 5-year impact report at a press conference where the Surgeon General would announce a new federal initiative based on our work. Emma, come say hi to Aunt Patricia, Mom called out, and I excused myself from Vanessa's monologue about cruise excursions. Aunt Patricia pulled me into a hug that made my peritoneal catheter site ache. Your mother tells me you're finally getting that kidney situation handled. I'm so glad it's not serious. I was worried when she first mentioned it, but she said you're being dramatic as usual. As usual, I echoed. Well, you know how you are, sweetie. Remember when you insisted you had appendicitis in high school and it was just bad cramps? You've always been a bit of a hypochondriac. She patted my arm. Thank goodness you're healthy enough to postpone until after their trip. Family comes first. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and pulled up my medical records app. Stage 5 chronic kidney disease. GFR 11. Transplant scheduled with living donor. My college roommate Jessica, because no one in my family had even offered to get tested. 3 months of compatibility testing, surgical prep, immune system protocols. My phone rang. Dr. Chin. Emma, I wanted to give you a heads up. The Surgeon General's office just confirmed that several major media outlets will be at Tuesday's conference. CNN, NPR, The Washington Post. They want to do a feature on your rural access program. That's great, I managed. You don't sound great. What's wrong? I told her about the party, about the cruise, about my family's dismissal of my transplant as optional timing. There was a long silence. Then, Emma, your mother is Margaret Chin. She works in hospital administration at Mercy General, correct? Yes. And your father is Thomas Chin, the regional sales director for MedTech Solutions? Right. Another pause. I'll see you Tuesday. Emma, bring your family if you'd like. The event is open to support networks. I knew that tone. Dr. Chen was furious. Tuesday arrived with the weight of inevitability. I'd sent my family a casual text the night before. Foundation event tomorrow at 2 p.m. National Press Club. Would mean a lot if you could come. Mom's response. Can't, preparing for the cruise. Break a leg. Vanessa working. Good luck with your little presentation. Dad didn't respond at all. I arrived at the National Press Club at noon for final prep. The room was filling with journalists, medical professionals, foundation board members. Dr. Chen found me backstage. Ready. As I'll ever be. Good. Because I pulled some strings. She showed me the updated attendee list. My blood went cold then hot. Margaret Chin, Hospital Administration, Mercy General. Thomas Chin, Regional Director, MedTech Solutions. Vanessa Chin, Marketing Director, Health First Corp. How did you? Your mother's hospital is applying for a federal grant through the Surgeon General's Rural Health Initiative. Her CEO wanted her here to network. Your father's company supplies equipment for telehealth programs. His VP insisted he attend after I mentioned we'd be announcing a major equipment contract. And your sister's company? They're trying to win the marketing contract for the new campaign. Her boss made it mandatory. They don't know I'm presenting. No, Dr. Chin said with a small smile. They don't. The conference began at 2 sharp. I watched from backstage as the Surgeon General, Dr. Marcus Wallace, took the podium. He was an imposing figure. Former Army physician, decorated surgeon, and a fierce advocate for healthcare equity. Today, we're announcing a transformative federal initiative, he began. For the past 3 years, we've been piloting a program that has revolutionized kidney care access in underserved communities. This program has reduced dialysis mortality rates by 37% in rural America. It has restored quality of life to thousands of patients who were previously hours away from adequate care. I could see my parents in the third row looking politely interested. Vanessa was on her phone. This program was designed, built, and executed by one person. A patient advocate who herself faces the daily reality of kidney disease. A young woman who, while managing her own end-stage renal disease, created a model that will save tens of thousands of lives. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Emma Chin, Director of Patient Innovation at the National Kidney Foundation. I walked onto the stage as the room erupted in applause. The moment my mother saw me at the podium, her face went white. Dad's mouth fell open. Vanessa dropped her phone. Thank you, Dr. Wallace, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease. Within 18 months, I progressed to end-stage renal failure. I know what it means to sit in a dialysis chair for 4 hours, 3 times a week. I know what it means to be too exhausted to work, to plan your life in 4-hour increments, to wonder if you'll live to see 40. I clicked to the first slide. Photos of dialysis patients in remote Montana, rural Mississippi, isolated communities in Alaska. These patients were driving 4 hours each way for dialysis. They were choosing between treatment and keeping their jobs. They were dying because geography was a death sentence. Our telehealth monitoring program, combined with home dialysis training and mobile support units, changed that. For the next 20 minutes, I presented data, testimonials, success stories. The journalists were rapt. Medical professionals were taking notes. And my family sat frozen in their seats, watching their dramatic daughter command a room full of national media and federal health officials. In 3 weeks, I concluded, I'll receive a kidney transplant from a living donor. I'll be one of the lucky ones. But there are 90,000 Americans on the transplant waiting list right now. 13 people die every day waiting for a kidney. This program is about making sure that geography, economics, and access don't determine who lives and who dies. The applause was thunderous. Dr. Wallace returned to the podium. Emma's work will be the foundation of our new Rural Health Equity Initiative. We're allocating $847 million over 5 years to expand this model nationwide. He paused, his expression hardening. I'd be remiss if I didn't note that Emma developed this program while her own health deteriorated, while she faced down her own mortality. And I understand that even now, as she prepares for a life-saving transplant, she faces dismissal and minimization from those who should be supporting her most. The room went very quiet. Miss Chin, Dr. Wallace said, turning to my mother, You work in hospital administration at Mercy General, correct? Mom stood on shaking legs. Yes, Dr. Wallace. Your daughter is 3 weeks away from a kidney transplant, a major surgery with months of recovery, and I understand your family has scheduled a vacation during her surgery date. That you've referred to her condition as minor and dramatic. Is that accurate? Every camera in the room turned toward my mother. Journalists were typing furiously. We didn't understand, she never said. She never said? Dr. Wallace's voice could have cut steel. Your daughter has end-stage renal disease. She's been on dialysis. These are not subtle conditions, Ms. Chen. As someone who works in healthcare, you should understand the gravity of organ failure. Dr. Wallace, I said quietly, but he held up a hand. Emma has shown me the messages from your family. The dismissals. The accusations of attention-seeking. The scheduling of vacations during her surgery. The refusal to even test as potential donors. He looked out at the audience. This young woman has saved thousands of lives while her own family couldn't be bothered to save hers. Mr. Chen, he turned to my father, you're with MedTech Solutions. Your company manufactures dialysis equipment. And yet you called your daughter's treatment, putting off minor procedures. Dad said nothing. He looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. Ms. Vanessa Chen, Health First Corporation. Vanessa went rigid. You told your sister she was milking her sickness for attention. You accused her of manufacturing drama to overshadow your achievements. Meanwhile, she was building programs that will be studied in medical schools for decades. The reporters were having a field day. I could see headlines forming in real time. Surgeon General denounces medical neglect. Hospital administrator's daughter built federal health program while family dismissed her dying. Dr. Chen stepped forward. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, Emma's nephrologist. I've treated thousands of kidney patients in my career. I've never seen a family so aggressively dismiss a patient's reality. Emma has been in crisis for months. Her kidney function is at 11%. Without this transplant, she has perhaps a year before her body begins to shut down completely. But she looks fine, Mom whispered. She looks fine, Dr. Chen repeated, her voice sharp. Because she's extraordinary at managing her condition. Because she's strong. Because she's been doing this alone. Not because her condition is minor. The press conference ended with Dr. Wallace announcing that Mercy General's grant application would be under review pending investigation into staff cultural competency regarding chronic illness. MedTech Solutions equipment contract was pending evaluation of company leadership's health equity values. Health First's marketing bid was withdrawn from consideration. My family's careers imploded in real time. The next 3 weeks were a blur. The story went viral. Family calls transplant optional. Surgeon General intervenes trended for days. Mom was placed on administrative leave pending an ethics review. Dad's VP called him in for a meeting about his public image problem. Vanessa's boss sent a company-wide email about the importance of compassion in healthcare marketing, pointedly not naming names but making it clear who the message was for. The day before my surgery, I received a flood of messages. Mom, Emma, please. I didn't understand. Let me be there for your surgery. Dad, we made a mistake. We're canceling the cruise. Vanessa, I'm so sorry. I was jealous and cruel. Please forgive me. I responded to all of them the same way. I'll be fine. Focus on your careers. Jessica, my donor, squeezed my hand in the pre-op room. You sure you don't want them here? I'm sure. I have the family I need right here. Dr. Chen stood on my other side, and behind her, a dozen colleagues from the foundation who'd become my real family over the past 3 years. The surgery was successful. Both kidneys, mine and Jessica's, functioned perfectly. My recovery was smooth, monitored by the best medical team in the country, people who understood that minor procedure and kidney transplant occupied completely different universes. 6 months later, the Rural Health Equity Initiative launched nationwide. I stood beside the Surgeon General at 5 regional ceremonies, my scar hidden under professional attire, my new kidney functioning at 92%. My mother lost her position at Mercy General. Not fired but encouraged to resign, after the ethics board found a pattern of dismissing patient concerns that echoed her treatment of me. She now works in medical billing at a small clinic, no longer in decision-making positions. My father's company survived, but he didn't. The VP retired him early, concerned about his judgment. He consults from home now, his reputation permanently tainted by the man who sold telehealth equipment while calling his daughter's dialysis drama. Vanessa's marketing career stalled completely. Health First let her go 6 months after the press conference. She's working in generic corporate communications now, her trajectory from rising star to cautionary tale complete. They still reach out occasionally. Birthday cards. Awkward apology texts. Requests to talk when I'm ready. I'm not ready. I may never be ready. Because the truth is, they didn't reject me out of ignorance. They rejected me because acknowledging my illness would have required them to see me as real, as important, as deserving of their attention. It was easier to call me dramatic than to confront their own cruelty. Last week, I received the Presidential Volunteer Service Award for my work on the initiative. The ceremony was small, private, meaningful. Dr. Chin and Jessica were there. My foundation colleagues. The patients whose lives had been changed by the program. My family sent flowers to my office. I donated them to the dialysis center where I'd spent so many hours hooked to machines, waiting for people who couldn't be bothered to wait for me. The card with the flowers said, "We're so proud of you. Love, Mom, Dad, and Vanessa." I threw it away unread. Some wounds don't heal. Some families don't deserve forgiveness. And some of us build better families from the people who show up when it matters. Not the ones who arrive with apologies after the world has already witnessed their cruelty. My transplant wasn't optional. My work wasn't minor. My life wasn't dramatic.